Well, the communist government right now is constructing a massive new $3.5 billion megaport in Peru. It's slated to get finished up later in the year and will give Beijing direct access to South America. China's main goal, establishing a direct trade route from Peru to Shanghai. But the State Department warns countries doing business with China should keep their eyes, quote, wide open.
If they enter into agreements with China, they ought to ensure that those agreements have transparency, that they are in the best interests of their governments and, most importantly, in the people of their countries.
The port will be 60 feet deep and give China a foothold in America's own backyard, about 4,500 miles from San Francisco.
In November, Xi Jinping will be in Peru to cut the ribbon on a major seaport that is built and designed to compete with our West Coast seaports. They're planning to build a major railroad.
Biden administration officials have warned about China also using this megaport to plant its military, something they've already done in 100 or so other foreign ports.
In 2013, Xi Jinping launched the Belt and Road Initiative, also known as BRI. Xi's vision was to connect the PRC, the People's Republic of China, to the rest of the world through infrastructure. The BRI fits squarely within the CCP's military ambitions. As we'll see, many BRI projects, especially deep water ports, are tailored for military use.
Once complete, this megaport will allow the Chinese regime to bypass other major ports here in the United States, also in Mexico. Sean and Dagan, back to you.
Jillian Turner, thank you.
And speaking of China, this morning, the House Oversight Committee held its second hearing on Beijing's political warfare and efforts to infiltrate key sectors right here in the United States.
The hearing highlighted China's growing influence operations in a wide range of industries, including agriculture, education, technology, and more.
For decades, the CCP has waged an aggressive campaign of political warfare, a strategy to weaken our nation without ever firing a shot.
Xi Jinping has accelerated China's influence operations. Often, these operations seem innocuous and like even friendly exchanges. Sister city agreements, business chamber meetings, think tank conferences, and interviews with Chinese propaganda outlets.
Through such tactics as elite capture, psychological warfare, deception, disinformation, and propaganda, the Chinese Communist Party misled and enculturated our government, as well as other American elites.
Here's reaction. A member of the House Oversight Committee, Pennsylvania, Congressman Scott Perry. Scott, Congressman, good to see you. You know, from ports in Peru to spy balloons to buying farmland outside of our military bases to, all of this elite capture and this infiltration that China's doing, I think the American people get it, which is why Joe Biden hasn't rolled back any of Donald Trump's pressure on China. But I think a lot of Americans, they do want the Congress to do more, seeing the risk of China as they try to infiltrate our country. They want more protection.
Well, Sean and Dagan, you're absolutely right. The American people do see it, in spite of the fact that for at least 40 years, the U.S. government told the American citizens that China was a strategic, not a strategic adversary, but a competitor. They are not a competitor. They use what they call unrestricted warfare. And what does that mean? Sure, it means using the articles of war, the components of war, tanks, ships, airplanes, those type of things. But it also means what the things you already talked about: propaganda, stealing technology, using our financial markets. And that's one of the big ones for me, because they don't play with the same terms as American companies do. And so the insult to injury is that while China is undermining the United States of America, Americans are underwriting China doing it. We're literally paying for it. And it'd be as easy as just simple reciprocity. We're not going to allow you to do in America, in our financial markets, what you don't allow us to do in your financial markets. How hard is that? Just parity. Just everybody understands that, even though China will scream and yell about it. It shouldn't matter to us. We should not, at a minimum, be financing that port in Peru, the farmlands being bought up across the country, and the property being stolen, not to mention all the Chinese students learning in American universities and then taking that knowledge and that experience and that education back to Beijing and the Communist Party.
The United States has done nothing to stop Russia selling oil to China. China is funding the war in Ukraine. The United States does nothing to stop Iran selling oil to China. China funding Iran's terrorist proxies, including Hezbollah and Hamas. So name one thing the Biden administration has done to make us safer and fortify us against China?
I guess you're asking the wrong guy, Dagan. You should ask that question tomorrow night at the debate. I don't suspect you'll be invited.
It was rhetorical. It was rhetorical.
Yeah, well, I can't really think of one thing other than harsh rhetoric. And you remember that this administration was embarrassed on the world stage with their first meeting where China called out America and our civil rights violation. Meanwhile, in China, as we speak, there are concentration camps, torture, forced organ harvesting, and the like happening right in China, and yet we continue to do business with them, and we don't say much about it. We almost say nothing about it, and as a matter of fact, even at the UN, we don't say anything about it. We let China do that. So, unfortunately, President Biden's weakness transcends just not only the American economy, but foreign policy, and specifically with China.
Well, Joe Biden's administration think that China's not really a threat. It's really climate change that is a true threat to America and to the rest of the world. But let's move on to this, because where Biden spent $230 million on a humanitarian pier in Gaza, well, it's been an absolute failure. Originally put into service back in May, the pier was used for a week until rough seas tore it apart, causing $22 million in additional damage to the pier. Operations were then suspended again earlier this month after United Nations warehouses were hit by rockets. And although it's back in service, distribution of aid still remains a major problem, and reports of theft and increased safety concerns. And now military officials are warning that the pier could be dismantled as early as next month. And so, Congressman, again, it just seems like our government continues to waste money on things that work and things that don't work. And this is just another example of like $34 trillion in debt, and not a big deal. We have money to spend, on a pier that doesn't work in Gaza.
That's exactly right, Sean. The long list of failures now include the fact that President Biden can't even get food to terrorists, right? He's funding and he's forcing the American taxpayers to fund both sides of this war. Of course, we want to help our allies, Israel, but why are we helping Iran sell oil, or allowing them to sell oil, which then they use for their proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, Islamic Jihad, to then fight the very same war on the opposite side in Gaza, in Israel? And the American tax dollar and the American taxpayer has to be footing the bill. It is the ultimate insult, and again, it projects weakness and indecisiveness to all our adversaries, which is why you see Russia acting the way they are, of course, North Korea, bellicose, and of course, China just moving unfettered around the globe and in our hemisphere, and Russia with their subs and their ships right 90 miles off of the coast of Florida without a care in the world. And what does President Biden do about any of this? Absolutely nothing.
Except he's like, let's look weaker. Let's look a little bit weaker and build a pier that falls apart, that we can't deliver food. That's what he does.
No doubt.
Congressman Scott Perry, I was going to say earlier, Perry, that was a good parry you had there about talking about the debate. That was a good one, sir.
Thank you, Congressman. Good to see you.
Thank you. God bless you. Have a great night.
Bless you.